This project is tough. We need to meet. Yeah, library after class?
Sounds good. I have notes.
Perfect.
Everyone in the room was celebrating the birth of Tunde's son until Emeka
This child
stepped
looks
closer
exactly
to the
like me. He
baby.
has my
His
eyes, my
laughter
nose,
slowly
even my
stopped
smile.
because the newborn
Tunde, come
child
and see.
didn't look like his father. He looked exactly like the best man at his wedding. What nobody knew was that the two men weren't just best friends. They were hiding a secret that would destroy three lives forever. In the heart of Enugu, two young best friends were known everywhere as inseparable friends. Tunde and Emeka grew up together. They went to the same schools, ate at the same table, and defended each other like real brothers would. People often say that their friendship was rare, their bond was strong. But what nobody knew was that their bond was deeper than friendship. During their university years, their closeness slowly turned into something neither of them expected. They became lovers in secret. Neither of them knew what they were doing. It was a truth they would never reveal to the world around them. In Africa, they knew society would never accept them, so they buried their feelings and continued living as best friends in public. Years later, everything changed when Tunde met Adaeze. Adaeze was beautiful, confident, and full of life. So when Tunde introduced her to Emeka, she quickly became friends and part of their small circle. But before long, Tunde fell deeply in love with her. And one night, he confessed to Emeka, "Guy, I like this girl though. I think she is the one I want to marry. She's the woman for me. Make Percy settle down abeg." Emeka felt his heart shattered, but he forced his smile and said, "Then you should marry her. If truly you feel something for her, go ahead." Months later, the wedding took place. Music filled the hall. Family and friends gathered in celebration of the young couple. And standing beside Tunde as the best man was Emeka, his best friend. No one knew the silent pain behind his smile. After the marriage, life seemed perfect. Tunde worked hard while Adaeze settled into their new home. Emeka remained their closest family friend, always visiting, always supporting them. But one night changed everything. Tunde had to travel out of town for work, leaving Adaeze alone at home. Emeka came by just to check on her. They talked for hours about loneliness, life, and the pressure they were all carrying. They drank alcohol. One moment of comfort became a mistake they could never undo. Months later, Adaeze announced she was pregnant. Tunde was overjoyed, and he celebrated loudly, thanking God for the child that was coming. But the day the child was born, a boy, something strange happened. The moment Emeka saw the child, his heart froze. The baby had his eyes, his nose, and his exact smile. In fact, the boy had his looks at that young age. Their friends that visited laughed and joked in the hospital room. "Ah, this boy resembles Emeka so much. Oh. Ah, Abi, am I dreaming? Is my eye paining me?" They all laughed at it. At first, Tunde laughed too, but as the baby grew, the resemblance became impossible to ignore. Their neighbors gossiped about it. Family members exchanged glasses whenever they visit home. The child looked nothing like Tunde, but exactly like Emeka, his best friend. One evening, while the baby slept quietly, Tunde turned to Adaeze with a trembling voice. "Ada, please tell me the truth. Whose son is this?" He questioned her in anger. Tears filled Adaeze's eyes. She became scared, and her silence answered everything. But the greatest shock was still waiting. Tunde stormed out of their room that night. Adaeze's mother, who was still around for Omugo, got scared. She went into their room Ada, what is wrong with your husband? What is going on? Why are you crying? She kept asking many questions as she goes to shake on the baby. It was hard for Adaeze to tell her mother, but she did. She explained everything that happened to her mother, and her mother cried and comforted her. Oh, my daughter, it was a moment of weakness, so... I understand, my dear. Let's hope and pray that he forgives you, and everything will be alright again. Her mother encouraged her to be strong for her baby. When Tunde comforted Emeka at his place, the room was filled with heavy silence, because this was not just a betrayal by his best friend. This was a man he once loved, the man he sacrificed his own happiness for. And that moment, the child sleeping in the next flat cried the truth of a secret that destroyed all 3 lives forever. Years passed after the painful separation. Tunde left the house that once held his dreams. He moved away from the noisy life of Lagos and settled quietly in Port Harcourt, trying to rebuild a life that no longer felt complete. He never remarried again. He buried himself in work and avoided anything that reminded him of the family he lost. But one memory refused to fade. The little boy who once called him daddy, and Adaeze's life after the truth was exposed changed her. Back in Lagos, Adaeze's life became difficult. The truth about the child slowly spread among the relatives and neighbors. Gossips followed her everywhere she went. Some people blamed her, some blamed Emeka, but nobody truly understood the complicated web of love and betrayal that destroyed their lives. When Tunde left them, Emeka wanted to take responsibility of the child, but Adaeze refused, not because he hated him, but because she knew the damage had already been done. So she tried her possible best to raise the boy alone. She even named him Chudubem, meaning God is my guide. When the boy grew older, he began to ask questions about his father. It began to trouble him. Every time he saw fathers picking up their children from school, he wondered about his own. One evening, he asked Adaeze softly, "Oh, mommy, where is my daddy? Why is my daddy not coming to see us or visit us even once?" Adaeze's heart broke. Why haven't he come to pick me up from school? He questioned his mother. But Adaeze told him that his father lived far away and that one day he might meet him, but the truth was much heavier than that. 15 years have passed. Destiny created a moment no one expected. Chidubem, now a tall and intelligent teenager, traveled to Abuja for a national school competition. During a break outside the event hall, he accidentally bumped into a man walking past. The man dropped his briefcase. Chidubem quickly apologized and helped him pick it up. When the man looked at the boy's face, he froze. It was Tunde, the man who once believed he was the boy's father. Time seemed to stop because the boy looked exactly the same as he did years ago. Tunde felt something tightening in his heart. He asked gently, "What is your name, son?" The boy replied, "Chidubem." They talked briefly, unaware of the deep connection between them. Chidubem mentioned that he lived in Lagos with his mother, and when he said his mother's name was Adaeze, the world around Tunde went silent. Tunde realized the truth instantly. This was the same child. The boy he once held in his arms. The child he once loved like his own. But he had walked away from him. That night, when he returned home, he couldn't sleep or erase the memory of their meeting. And for years, he believed living was the only way to survive the betrayal. But now, he realized something painful. The boy had done nothing wrong. The child had lost a father because of the mistakes of the adults. The next day, Tunde traveled to Lagos and searched for Adaeze in their former area, but couldn't find her. When they finally met again, after 15 years, both of them cried sadly, and Adaeze expected him to be angry, shout, or destroy things, but instead, Tunde said quietly, "I cannot change the past, but that boy should not suffer because of us," he said to her. He called a meeting between him and Emeka. Then, he made a decision that shocked everyone. He chose to become part of Chidubem's life again, not as the father by blood, but as the father who chose to love him no matter what happened around his birth. Years later, at Chidubem's university graduation, two men sat in front row, watching him proudly. One was the man who gave him life, which is Emeka, and the other was the man who chose to raise him in his heart, Tunde. And when Chidubem hugged them both, he whispered something that made them cry. A child can have two fathers, but love is what makes a real one. And few years later, after the reunion, life slowly became peaceful again. Chidubem grew into an intelligent young man. With the support of both Tunde and Emeka, he completed university in Abuja and returned home to Lagos to begin his career. To the outside world, his life looked perfect. He had a loving mother and two father figures who supported him, and also a future that is full of opportunities. But there was one thing that had always bothered him. That was his identity. He knew Tunde had once been married to his mother. He also knew Emeka was his biological father. But something about the story never fully made sense. Sometimes, he would catch his mother staring into space with guilt in her eyes. And sometimes, Tunde would look at him with a strange sadness. It felt like there was another secret still hidden. Then one rainy afternoon, Chidubem was helping his mother clean an old storage room in their house. Inside a dusty box, he found an old envelope filled with photographs. Among them was a picture that made his heart skip. It was a wedding photo. His mother, Adaeze, standing beside Tunde. But what shocked him most was not the couple. Standing beside them was Emeka, the best man. But the way Emeka and Tunde looked at each other in that photo was strange. Not like ordinary friends. There was something deeper in their eyes. Confusion filled Chidubem's mind. He was no longer a boy. He understood the world better now. That evening, he confronted his mother. At first, Adaeze refused to speak or explain anything to him. But the pressure of years of guilt finally broke her. So, through tears, she revealed the final secret before Adaeze ever came into their lives. Tunde and Emeka had once been secretly in love. They were more than friends. They had been partners. They ended their relationship because they feared society would never accept them. And that decision led Tunde to marry Adaeze. The room became silent. Chidubem felt like the ground had disappeared beneath him. Everything he thought he knew about his family had just changed. Later that night, he visited Tunde. The old man already knew why he had come. Tunde didn't deny the truth. He simply nodded quietly. Yes, Emeka and I once loved each other, but that was years ago. Chidubem asked the question that had been boiling in his heart. Then why did you leave me? Why did you abandon me and my mother? Tunde's voice trembled. Because I thought the betrayal was too painful to forgive. But I later realized something important. You were innocent of all this actions. Chidubem later confronted Emeka as well. Emeka admitted his mistakes without excuses. He told his son something he had carried for years. Chidubem, my son, let me tell you something. Your life came from a moment of confusion, but loving you was never a mistake to me. I love you so much, my son. For the first time, Chidubem truly understood the complicated story of the three adults who shaped his life. They had made mistakes, they had hurt each other, but in the end, they all loved him in their own ways. Months later, Chidubem gathered all three of them in one room: his mother, Tunde, and Emeka. Then he said something none of them expected. The past may be broken, but we are still a family. Tears filled the room because after years of pain, secrets, and betrayal, the truth had finally set them all free. This story carries many deep lessons about love, secrets, betrayal, forgiveness, and the consequences of human decisions. It reminds us that life is often more complicated than what people see on the surface, and that the choices we take or make, especially when driven by fear, loneliness, or societal pressure, can affect many lives for years. Secrets built on fear often lead to greater pain. Tunde and Emeka hid their relationship because they feared society's judgment, while their fear was understandable in a society that may not accept them. Hiding the truth forced them to live lives that were not fully honest. When people bury the truth, instead of confronting it, the hidden reality often resurfaces later in ways that hurt more people than expected. This story teaches that living a life built on secrecy can create emotional burdens that grow heavier with time. The moment of weakness can change many lives forever. Adaeze and Emeka did not intend to destroy a family, but a single emotional moment created consequences that followed them for years. Life constantly reminds us that our actions, even those made during moments of loneliness or vulnerability, can reshape the lives of others. The story wants us to be mindful of our decisions, especially when emotions are high and judgment is weak. Betrayal hurts most when it comes from those we trust deeply. Tunde's pain was not only about the child, it was about betrayal from two people he trusted most: his wife and his closest friend. This highlights an important truth. Trust is one of the most fragile things in human relationship. Once broken, it can leave wounds that take years to heal. Children should never suffer for the mistakes of adults. Chidubem was innocent, yet he grew up confused about his identity and without the stability of a united family. The story powerfully reminds us that when adults make harmful choices, children often carry the emotional consequences. Responsible adults must remember that their actions can shape a child's life in ways they may never fully understand. Forgiveness is one of the greatest forms of strength. One of the most powerful parts of this story is Tunde's decision to return and be part of Chidubem's life. Forgiveness did not erase the pain or the past, but it allowed healing to begin. True strength is not always in walking away forever. Sometimes it is in choosing compassion even after deep hurts. Fatherhood is more than biology. Emeka gave Chidubem life, but Tunde chose to love him despite everything. This teaches a profound lesson. Being a father or a parent is not only about blood, it is about responsibility, love, sacrifice, and patience. The people who choose to stand by us and guide us through life often become our true family. Truth, though painful, eventually brings freedom. For years, the three adults lived with guilt, regret, and hidden truths. But when everything was finally revealed, healing became possible. This shows that truth may be uncomfortable at first, but it opens the door to understanding, forgiveness, and peace. At its heart, this story teaches that humans are imperfect. People make mistakes, betray trust, and hurt those they love. But it also reminds us that love, forgiveness, and honesty have the power to rebuild what once seemed permanently broken. In the end, Chidubem's word captured the deepest lesson of all. Family is not only defined by how we were born, but by the people who choose to love us despite our complicated beginnings. Hi cuties! Thanks for always listening to my stories. I hope you enjoyed yourself and learned a thing or two about the story. Please remember to like and share this story. And don't forget to drop your thoughts on the comment section. Let me know if you were in Tunde's shoes, Emeka or Adaeze. What would you have done? See you all in my next video. Bye!